Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Cohen, let me start with you. I think I'm going to ask you a few questions. I think these are yes or no or I don't know questions. The last 3 years, unfortunately, the United States economy has experienced substantial inflation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
That inflation is man-made, is it not?
Any inflation is man-made, sir.
And that man's name is Joe Biden, is it not?
Cannot answer that, sir.
Okay. Since President Biden took office, average electricity prices in the United States are up 29.4%, are they not?
I'll have to check the data and get back to you on that.
In recent years, the intersection of climate policy, economic inflation, and partisan politics has become a central battleground in the United States. Nowhere is this more visible than in congressional hearings, where invited experts are often caught in the crossfire between competing political narratives. The excerpt you've read is from such a hearing, one that showcases not just policy debate, but also the performative nature of modern politics. The scene is a U.S. Senate committee hearing, likely under the jurisdiction of an energy, environmental, or budgetary committee. These hearings are meant to gather expert testimony on specific policy issues, such as the impacts of climate change legislation, rising energy costs, or government spending. However, they also serve a secondary function, political messaging. Senators use these hearings to underscore their party's talking points, question witnesses, often aggressively, and shape public opinion through televised sound bites and viral clips. In this particular hearing, Senator John Kennedy, RLA, takes the lead in questioning. Known for his sharp tongue and confrontational style, Kennedy focuses his line of inquiry on two central themes: the rising cost of living, particularly electricity prices, under President Joe Biden, the political leanings and affiliations of expert witnesses, especially regarding support for radical climate activist groups. Kennedy presses Dr. Mark Cohen and Dr. Geoffrey Supran, two expert witnesses likely brought in to speak on climate policy and economic impacts. His questions are mostly rhetorical in nature, structured to corner the witnesses into admitting fault or aligning them with controversial positions. He insists on yes or no answers to questions that involve complex economic dynamics, such as the causes of inflation, energy market fluctuations, and policy impacts. In doing so, Kennedy attempts to frame President Biden's administration, and by extension, climate-focused academics and advocates as responsible for the financial pain felt by American families. He references alarming statistics such as electricity prices rising nearly 30% since Biden took office, and accuses the administration's climate policies, like the Inflation Reduction Act, of exacerbating inflation.
Since President Biden took office, average electricity prices in the United States are up 29.4%, are they not?
I'll have to check the data and get back to you on that, sir.
And isn't it true that electricity prices have increased under President Biden, have increased 13 times faster than the previous 7 years?
I'll have to check the data, sir.
Okay. And the National Energy Assistant Directors Association, I don't know if you're familiar with them. I've checked them out. They're a reputable group. They say that the average United States electricity bill will go up 10% this year and 10% next year. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not familiar with the data, but I can point out, sir, that in Europe,
I'm not interested
in Europe, prices are 2.5% to 3% higher.
I'm interested in our people right now who are having to, who are having to sell blood in order to pay their electricity bill.
Goodness.
A substantial portion of this inflation in electricity, up 30% since President Biden took office, is directly related to his energy policies. Is it not?
Energy prices fluctuate based on supply and demand of all sources of energy, yes.
I think it has nothing. Is that a yes or no?
It's a very complicated economic
I
question.
understand. Give me an answer. Did President Biden's policies contribute to the inflation, or didn't they?
Both Republican and Democratic administrations infuse the economy with trillions of dollars, which contributes to the inflation.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't believe any Republicans voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Well, I do. $1.2 trillion, Green New Deal. No Republicans voted for. You want to amend your answer?
The second part of the exchange zeroes in on Dr. Supran's social media activity, where Kennedy quotes tweets and retweets supporting a group called Climate Defiance, a youth-led activist organization known for civil disobedience and provocative language. Kennedy uses these tweets to suggest that Supran supports extremist rhetoric and tactics, including attacks on political figures and corporate executives. Dr. Supran pushes back, arguing that the tweets were misattributed or taken out of context, and that retweets don't necessarily signal full endorsement. He accuses Senator Kennedy of character assassination and attempt to delegitimize his scientific credibility through guilt by association. This kind of exchange reflects the deep polarization in U.S. climate and economic discourse. Rather than constructive dialogue, what unfolds is a proxy war of ideologies with scientists caught between the technical complexity of their fields and the political simplicity demanded by the format. Ultimately, this hearing highlights the challenges of translating scientific nuance into a hyper-partisan environment where facts are often weaponized and where expert testimony becomes fodder for political grandstanding rather than thoughtful policymaking.
And my answer that under President Trump and under President Biden, trillions of dollars were infused into the economy
under Trump,
and contributed
went
to
up 5%
inflation.
over 4 years, and under Biden they went up 30% over 3 years. Which is better?
Say again, under Trump, please.
Under Trump, electricity prices went up 5%. Under Biden, they went up 30% over 3 years. Which is better?
Clearly, lower rise in electricity prices better.
All right.
However,
Dr. Supran, let me ask you a couple of questions.
okay.
You're here at the request of my Democratic colleagues?
No, sir.
No, Dr. Supran.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Dr. Supran, on December 14, 2023, you tweeted in support of Climate Defiance. That's an entity that the Brookings Institute has called a radical climate change group. Is that correct?
I don't recall, I'm afraid.
Okay. Would this be the same Climate Defiance that I'm looking at your tweet, you tweeted in support of them. Would this be the same Climate Defiance that called Senator Joe Biden, quote, a sick fuck?
I don't know, but as I
Would this
mentioned
be
in my-
the same Climate Defiance that called Senator Lisa Murkowski a murderer?
I do not know. As I said in my statement...
Would this be the same Climate Defiance who told the CEO of Exxon to, quote, eat shit, Darren, close quote?
I'm not responsible for the statements of other
Nice
people.
group you're
and I also
hanging
do not know
around
the
with,
answer.
Doc. Here's what your tweet says, quote, we do, in support of Climate Defiance, we do not do online petitions. We do not do NGO coalition letters. We do not do fucking bus stop ads. We chase fossil fuel CEOs and the politicians who do their bidding, and we do not apologize, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
That is not my tweet, sir.
That is your tweet. I'm looking at it. Here's a copy right here. It's right off your website, Big as Dallas. On
I'm almost
October
certain that is not
31,
my tweet, sir.
2023, you said this on Twitter. Quote, climate justice was coined by our movements to locate it as a struggle against genocidal racial injustice, colonialism, and apartheid. If your climate justice doesn't stand with the Palestinians against colonialism and apartheid, then your climate justice has no justice in it, close quote. Did you say that?
I believe not.
Here it is,
May
bigger
I,
than
may, I,
Dallas.
may I please see the documents?
Yes, sir, and the witnesses' documents there.
May I please
And the
point out that
senators,
this form
the
of...
senator's time has expired, and there are other senators waiting.
I've got a bunch more tweets. Thank you for your objective
I'm
advice,
sure you
Doc.
do. You can put them into a question for the record, and
Yes,
they'll
I'd
have
like to
unres-
submit
reply.
all of the good doctors' objective tweets and scientific analysis for the record.
That
Thank
will
you.
be done without objection. Senator Merkley,
May I clarify one final point?
proceed.
These are not my tweets. These are retweets. It's an important
Oh, you
contradiction.
often retweet stuff you don't support? Is that what you're telling me, Doc?